How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, and I'm going to do something a little bit different for this episode. If you're not interested, I totally understand. Um, Normally, if I do anything review-wise, it's music, and normally if I do anything movie or show-wise, it's horror. But I kind of want to do a review on this. This is Rick and Morty Season 1. I know I'm probably a little bit behind on checking out this series, but it's really grown on me. I think it's really funny, and if you haven't seen it before, then definitely stick around to see what I have to say about it. It's sort of like a cross between Futurama and Family Guy with some of the humor. There's like really random parts in here. There's some pretty adult language on this. Segue, speaking of adult language, it is on the Adult Swim program, also the same program as Pickles the Dog and Metalocalypse, so that's pretty sweet. Each episode is probably about 20 minutes, I think. I'm pretty sure each episode's about 20 minutes long. And it revolves around the two titular characters, Rick, the grandpa, and Morty, his grandson, who I believe is 14 years old in this. The other characters being Rick's daughter, Morty's mom, and then her husband, and then the Morty's older sister. Pardon me. And as you can see, Rick's kind of traveling through a portal with Morty. A lot of episodes deal with them kind of taking on different adventures and searching for different specific scientific finds that that Rick is looking for, and he kind of drags Morty along with him into different dimensions, different time periods, different realities. It's pretty neat. For the most part, Morty originally just starts off wanting to go to school and you know, kind of do his own thing and get good grades and whatnot, but he's not really the smartest person in the world. He's sort of like his dad, the dad in this, being this dude here. He's also not very smart. He just kind of has a mundane job. He starts off kind of in a firm doing advertising, and then he gets fired. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 1 yet. But yeah, it's really funny. The offhanded kind of humor and jokes are really good. If you have a short attention span, this will definitely keep you watching. It has a lot of quips and one-liners. It has a lot of kind of like obscure references to different shows and different pop culture things. Half of it looks like an acid trip. Like, have you ever seen Heavy Metal or Heavy Metal 2000? Like those movies, you'll have kind of like reminiscent kind of imagery of that. The artwork isn't like super duper detailed or crazy over the top. Like they're basically like a slightly step up above like stick figures, but the characters' personality and the things they go through, especially Morty, like half of the shit that Rick drags him through is traumatizing as hell. Like, he is a 14-year-old. Like, some of the things he says and does in this is a little bit like beyond what a 14-year-old would know, or the wisdom a 14-year-old would have. But for the most part, like, it's pretty funny, the things that Rick exposes them to while going to different realities or different universes or different planets and stuff like that. He's exposed to like his parents dying a few times. He's exposed to himself being dead and having to bury another version of himself and Rick because they completely fucked up their own timeline and turned everyone into hideous, grotesque monstrosities. Needless to say, I definitely recommend checking this show out if you can. It's not on Netflix, Like, I had to go to fucking Walmart and buy these seasons for like 15 bucks each, which is not too bad Canadian-wise, but... One thing I noticed, I don't know if anyone else has made the connection or not, or maybe they have and I'm just fucking late to the party again, but Rick and Morty kind of remind me of Dr. Emmett Brown and Marty from Back to the Future. I don't know if the creators or anyone meant to do it like that, but they give off like a very strong parody version of said characters, of course, but that's kind of who I kind of feel like they're trying to represent. The parents just seem like your average secondary characters. The mom and the dad have kind of this slightly failing relationship. Rick's kind of a dick when it comes to the husband and to his daughter about the husband. He's constantly putting him down, constantly calling him an idiot, constantly trying to show how much more intelligent he is than the husband. The daughter is sort of like your kind of atypical secondary daughter character in a show. Not as bad as Meg. Like, they don't make a running joke of her at all. She's just kind of the annoyed, angsty teenage daughter. But she has a slight character development throughout the series, and she does get involved a little bit more in depth with some of the adventures, and even has her own adventure on this kind of bestial planet where these kind of like red monster ape-like creatures are having sex with sex robots, and then they end up taking the offspring of these sex robots and taking them to the women overlords of that planet, where the females get indoctrinated into the female society and the babies just get launched out of the ship into the planet to become destructive creatures and stuff like that. But yeah, really, really cool. Really interesting ideas for this show. I definitely am glad I picked it up and give it a shot. It's great to binge watch and watch multiple episodes just to kind of see what happens. And another thing with Rick and Morty, it isn't just kind of like one-off episodes where like something happens and then it's completely forgotten the next episode. Each episode is kind of aware of previous events and happenings. There's multiple fourth wall breaks in this as well, where Rick talks to the viewer at the end of the episode sometimes, and even acknowledges that he's even in a cartoon by saying, "That's the end of season 1. Roll credits." But yeah, there's some very tongue-in-cheek things, like don't let your kids watch this. I had to kick the kids out of the room and like send them to theirs while this is playing. I put on some 90s Beetlejuice episodes for them, so they enjoy that. Matt Groening is apparently working on this, so I guess the dude who made The Simpsons. I wasn't going to compare this to The Simpsons at all because I don't really see the same humor. There is definitely way better and way more kind of modern type of humor in this than there is The Simpsons. In my opinion, I think The Simpsons should have stopped years and years and years ago. Like, once 2000s hit, like, who actually watched The Simpsons anymore? Comment down below if you actually still watch The Simpsons and tell me off if you like. But yeah, wow. Spoiler alert from here, so if you don't want to hear about any of the episodes or what happens, skip ahead to, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes past this. But a couple of my favorite episodes on this is the first one. It has that famous scene where they're traveling from dimension to dimension, or no, from one planet to the next, and Rick needs to get these really, really rare seeds from a mega tree, and he grabs up a bunch of them and he says, now, in order to get home, we're going to have to go through the planetary or galaxy kind of border patrol or whatever, and he tells Morty that he's going to have to stick these giant, like, pine cone size or even bigger size seeds up his ass. Stick them way up there, Morty. Yeah, the kid's 14. It's terrible, which makes it even funnier. And Rick's trying to explain to Morty that he can't do it himself because he's done it so many times previously that they just fall out. So that's a lovely detail that he throws in there. And then they finally get to the fucking planetary border crossing thing, and they're like nervous, and they're like, oh my god. And Rick's kind of like egging him on, like, I can't believe you fit them all up there, Morty. Good job. Da 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 da. And he's like, can we just get through this, please? And then the security guard comes by, and he's like, yeah, you go in this line, and you can go over here. And Rick's like, why does he have to go over there? He's like, well, we got this new machine that checks for things way up your butt. And he's like, fuck. So they like run off, and like it's good. It's really funny. Definitely recommend checking this out. I love that episode. The first one was all you need to see to really make up your mind, because the rest of them are pretty much similar to that, but with their own themes per episode. Another really good one was probably the Dead Santa one, where he has a theme park in his stomach, in his body. That was pretty interesting too. And the episode with the sex robot was also really funny. I really enjoyed that one, just because as soon as he got that thing, you knew something bad was going to happen. It wasn't just going to be like, oh yeah, he's going to buy this sex robot and it's going to be all good. No, it isn't. Yeah, there's also another episode where Rick gets captured by some aliens, and they're trying to figure out how to get dark matter fuel of some sort, and he gets trapped in a simulation inside of a simulation, etc., etc. That was pretty neat, and how he ends up tricking the aliens at the end is really good too. What's another good one, man? There's actually a lot of good fucking episodes on this thing. The poor dad in this, man. Like, this guy goes through some shit, I tell you. In that episode where Rick gets captured by the aliens for the dark matter thing, the dad, he comes up with this slogan for his company, and he ends up getting promoted, and he's about to get this award for like the best, I guess, slogan, and then he ends up, as he's getting congratulated, everything in the machine just starts breaking down and fucking malfunctioning. And then Rick finally runs up. He's like, what's going on? He's like, this was the best day of my life. He's like, oh, sorry to hear that. It's just a simulation. Now go. And they have to escape. Yeah. But, yeah, no, so my review of this new show that's kind of come out within the last couple of years, I guess. When did this come out? Holy shit. 2014? Damn, this has been out for a while. I am definitely behind on the party, but definitely glad I'm picking it up. Definitely glad of checking it out. The humor is great. The spontaneous adventures is great. The relationship between Rick and Morty is hilarious. The banter between Rick and the mother and the father is pretty funny. There's an episode where Rick has to go up against evil Rick and evil Morty, and there's a big kind of planet or council of Ricks who are trying to figure out who's murdering all the other Ricks. That's a really funny episode too, how Morty gets super pissed off with Rick and goes, hey, I'm just your human camouflage so that you can't be picked up by other Ricks and stuff like that, because I'm too stupid. My stupid cancels out the wavelength of your genius. And he basically ends up finding out that he's the most Morty of the Mortys in all of reality, and he kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger where evil, spoiler again, evil Morty kind of takes out his eye patch, and you find out that evil Rick was just a robot. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, I can't wait to see if evil Morty makes a return. Don't spoil it in the comment section for me. Let me find it on my own. I apologize if I've spoiled anything for you, but by the time you actually get around to watching this, if you haven't, maybe you'll have forgotten if you start at episode 1 and work your way through. There's a lot of really cool other episodes and other kind of plot points that happen along the way that are really funny and really interesting. There's a insurgent type of episode 2. I am saying that right, where they go into someone's dream reality and fuck, I don't think I'm saying that right. Inception. There we go. There's like an Inception type episode. But yeah, long story short, if you haven't seen Rick and Morty, definitely do yourself a favor and check it out if you can. It's not on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Hulu. Maybe just do your do kind of like a coin flip and be like, get the first season and check it out. Kind of sometimes you have to gamble and hope for the best. I seen like some parts online here and there, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to enjoy it or not, but considering that scene where Morty has to shove the seeds up his ass and that little clip, that made me laugh, and I thought it was pretty funny, and that was a good enough kind of tipping point for me to go, okay, I'm gonna invest in getting the season, and hopefully it'll be really good. And it was. Definitely glad I checked it out. If you're into Futurama or kind of Family Guy humor or stuff like that, this is kind of like the next level for random crazy shit. But it's not too random, and each episode does matter to what happens in the following ones, because it's a through story. It's not just kind of like a toss away episode where anything can happen and then they're fresh again. I also enjoy how South Park has kind of incorporated that too, where they can't just do whatever they want and then the next episode doesn't matter. So there's kind of like a semi-through story to it, if that kind of thing matters to you. But yeah, for animated series and cartoon show and kind of a running seasons of things, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. It is really good. Can't wait to check out season 2, which I also got. And season 3 looks like it's going to be pretty good for anyone who hasn't got there yet, who has seen season 1 and 2. Really good series. Hope they continue it on. And yeah, 9.5. 0.5 could be improved by, I don't know, making the episodes longer, maybe doing a little bit more of a through story where things that have happened in past episodes matter even more, and kind of just do a little bit more character developments as opposed to as much random stuff. Maybe could make it a full 10 out of 10, but I don't know. It seems pretty good. Like, I can't really think of anything that would make it that much more of a jump. But yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. If you're already watching Rick and Morty, let me know what you think of it. Yeah. Cheers, guys. For glory, for the rebellion. Slimerella out.